Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. So today video is on ReactJS form validation using React Hook form library, and we are going to use React Bootstrap UI form components. Okay, because I have already made React form validation using React Hook form library with normal HTML elements. Okay, so there is a difference for configuring the normal HTML or any third-party library form components. Okay, so in this video, I am taking React Bootstrap form components as the examples, how to integrate the React hook form. If you want to know about how to integrate for HTML, the video link will be available in the description box. You can check there. So let's create a sample React.js app and try to understand the validations. Okay. Okay. Here is the command for creating React application. So command is npx space create hyphen react hyphen app. That is the predefined React template name. Okay. And next space name of your project. So let's run the command to create a sample project. Project created successfully. Let's open it. Okay, here is our React project. Now let's install the React Bootstrap library. So go to React Bootstrap website and click on Get Started. Here is the command to install React Bootstrap and normal Bootstrap packages. Okay, copy the command, open terminal. Okay, install the package. So package successfully installed. Let's go to package.json file and look for the Bootstrap preferences. Here you can see React Bootstrap and the Bootstrap are added to the dependencies. Okay. Now let's go to index.js file. Okay. And here let's import the Bootstrap CSS reference. Okay. Import Bootstrap list CSS bootstrap.min.css. Okay. Now let's install our React hook form library. So search like React hook form and click on the link and go for get started. And here is the command for installing the React hook library. Copy it and open terminal. Let's install our React hook form library. Okay, React hook form library installed successfully. To check it, go to package.json and check for the reference. So here is the React hook form, which is version 7. Okay. Now let's implement a small form by integrating the React hook form library. For that, let's go to app component. Okay. Let me remove existing HTML and add imaginary tags. Okay. So here I want to add a form. So for that, to get the form UI components, go to React Bootstrap website. Okay. And click on forms. So in the forms, go for validation section. Okay. And from here, let's copy one form group and form. Okay. One form group and add it here. So closing row. Okay. And closing form. So let me remove this validate and on submit events. Okay. And no validate means by default browsers will support default HTML validations, right? So those will be suppressed with this attribute. Okay, because we want to apply our own validations. Okay, and here, so here form control you are seeing, right? So this will be rendered as a text box, okay, in our UI. So let's remove this required default required attribute and text first name. Okay, no default value. Okay, for now let's remove this feedback also. Okay, this is my field. Okay, now to integrate React hook form to this Bootstrap form, first we have to use form. Okay, and from this use form we are going to read some values. Okay, so constant, and let me read some values like first one is control. Okay, so control represents each element. Okay, and next handle submit. So this is the event registered to our on form submit. Okay, here is our form, right? So on submit event, on submit. Okay, to that expression we have to pass our handle submit. Okay, and to this handle submit we have to pass our custom method so that that custom method can read the form data. Okay, for that let me create a function, custom function like form submit. Okay, arrow function, and this will be used by the handle submit, right? So handle submit on invoking this form submit passes some data. So this data is nothing but form object. So we can directly send this data object to API calls as a payload. Okay, for now this demo I just console log the data to check whether we are able to read the form data or not. Okay, now this form submit custom function must be passed to the handle submit. Okay, so and this is our form, right? Form field, right? I have mentioned form dot control will be rendered as a text element. Okay, so this means this is our first name. So whenever we are using third party form controls, first we have to define the form field name here in the defaults. Okay, so default values. So I will just name like first name, any name of your choice. Okay, now the form control, we should not render it directly. To integrate into form, React hook form, we have to use controller tag. Okay, so this controller element loads from the React hook form. Okay, so controller and a self closing tag, and here we have to define few attributes. Okay, first thing is name. So this name, controller name, must match with the default field name what we registered here. Okay, copy this and assign it to the name attribute. Okay, next controller have an attribute like control. Okay, to that we have to pass our control variable from the use form. Okay, we are mapping our control. Okay, now use form will have control over this element through this control. Okay, and next thing, there is a attribute like render. Okay, and its expression takes arrow function, and that arrow function is a predefined function, not our own custom function. You can see here that arrow function will contain field input parameters like field state and form state. Okay, so now what I will do, I will simply pass the field. Okay, these names should be matched. Okay, we cannot give our own custom because it is a default arrow function, and it should be wrapped around the object, open braces, and here we have to return our form control. Paste it. pass it. Okay. So inside of render attribute arrow function, we have to return our form dot control, which is a React Bootstrap form control. And here we have to pass the input fields to this form controls. Okay. Dribble dot and field. Like this, we have to register. Okay. And now let's add a button and test on submitting whether we can see the data or not. Console log, we are doing console log, right? Whether we are able to read the data or not. For that, go to Bootstrap website and take the button. Okay, add it here. And I forgot to import the form controls and row, column, all those component namespaces. So go here. Let me copy these and I can remove this input group. Okay. Now let's run and test. Okay, here we can see text field and the submit form button. Let me open my console. Okay, if I enter some name and if I submit, see, I am able to read the form data. Okay, so from this we can understand we can implement our API call logic inside of this form submit method and we can directly post the form data very easily, right? With very less code by using the React hook form, we can read the form data. Okay, now let's try to apply required field validation for this uh, first name form element. Okay, so to do that, this controller element tag have another element like attribute like rules. Okay, so to these rules we can pass an object. So inside of it I can specify like this is equal to okay required true means this is a required field, but we are applying on the controller element, not on the form controller. Okay, but through the fields all the attributes whatever defined will be passed on to the form control. Okay, so it will enable required field validation and I want to display the text box in red border if the error occurs. For that what I will do here, I will add one more attribute like on form control. Now I am adding a attribute on form control directly. That is invalid. Okay. To this I am going to check whether my form has error messages or not. So to read the error messages, we have to define the errors object. For that, here we can read like form state, okay, and errors. Now I can access the errors property. So now here errors dot. Okay, here you can see first name. This name is coming from the registered name here. Okay, or field name or this name. Okay, so what this means? Something is existing. This object means there is some error. Okay, so whenever this error means it will return a bool and this will be applied to the input text element. Okay, and red color border will be applied. And I want to show message as well. Go to our React Bootstrap and here copy this form control feedback with type invalid. Okay, so add it here. Okay, so directly add a form control feedback here and type as in it like invalid. So by default it won't render because unless until this form control is true, is invalid is true, then only this content will be rendered. If not true, this won't render. If you want, you can check like this. See, there is no message here. Okay, let me give appropriate message also. First name required. Okay. See, there is no message appearing here. In spite of we didn't have any conditions, it is working. That is because of type invalid will associate with our form control. Okay. Now, if I submit this form, see red colored border applied and my error message also now displaying. So if I enter something, error message will be automatically removed. Okay, so this is how we can apply the required form field. Okay, okay, let's try to test max and min range form validations. Okay, for that, let me change the field name like age. Okay, I want to create a text element age and user has to enter the age limit within the range. I will specify the validation. Okay, so age and here also change like age and here the name should be exactly the name we registered here. Okay, and we will have form control. And now if you want you can leave this required field validator or you can remove it. I will remove it just for understanding purpose. And this name also not first name, age. Okay, so whenever age error occurs, we want to apply the invalidate our text field. Okay, any changes we need. Now I have to apply the rule. So max age will be 30 and min age will be 20. See, these are all predefined validations rules of our React hook. Okay, so minimum age should be 20 and maximum age should be 30. Okay, now I want to display two kind of error messages. One is min age 20 and another one is max age 30. Okay, let's check it. Let's change the placeholder. Let's remove this placeholder. Okay, so I think my change is done. Let's test it. So here is our age. If I enter 9 and submit, see, validation is firing. But here firing both min and max validation, right? So this approach directly using type invalid approach is not useful here because I have entered age 9 means I should see only min age. Okay, so for that I can use React expressions for rendering the error messages. So I can use errors dot age, right? Now I can check the specific type of the error message here. So question mark and type. Okay, type equal to just I can directly copy these names. Okay, min and I can use second element whatever the element I want to render. Okay, so if first condition is true, then second element will be rendered. Okay, in this expression. Same way I can give for max also. So now I am rendering the error messages conditionally. Now type will be max. Copy max. Okay, and copy this and paste it here. Okay, and here we won't check for type where E is invalid because we either it is a max or min, we should invalidate our text field. So we are not checking for any specific type here. Okay, now let's reload. And if I enter something and submit, see, min age 20, minimum age 20. If I enter some valid value like 21, see, I am able to print the age value, means form is valid. And if I enter some 35, see, max is 30. So we are able to show the appropriate error message. Okay. So that's about the min and max range validation. Now let's do pattern matching validations. Okay. So let's implement a email validation with email pattern. So first let me change value like email. Okay, copy this value and assign it here. And also change the label like email. And I don't want any field here. Okay. And here it is email. And here it should be email. Okay. And here I want only one message. Okay. If you want, you can remove type or you can check for type as well. Okay. Let me leave type as well. So to apply the pattern validation, there is a property inside of the rules object that is pattern. Okay. To this, we just need to assign the pattern. So let's search the email pattern from Google. So copy this pattern and add assign it to this pattern property. Okay. So here now type will be pattern. Okay. So that's it. Very simple. I have changed all the properties to email, right? Email. Okay, let's test it. So if I entered some valid email, I'm able to submit. You can see the console. If I entered invalid email, see, it is rising. But I am not able to see my message. Okay. Yeah, here I haven't changed the field name, that is email, and message also. Invalid email. Now I can see the error message. See, now you can see the error message like invalid email. Okay, so that is how we can do pattern matching. So this will be helpful for any regex like email, phone number, like those things. Okay, next, let's do custom validation by implementing a custom method as our rule. Okay, for that, what I will do, I will just remove this pattern. Okay, now the thing is, I will have two fields, okay, like first name and last name. I want to make sure that the first last name should not match with the first name. Okay. So for that, first let me create two input fields like first name and the last name. That means here we should have two form groups, one for displaying the first name and for another for displaying the last name. Okay. So for first name, I don't want to display any error message. Okay. I want to display the error message on second. Okay. So here what I will do, assign the first name, copy the name from here and assign it here and change label to first name. Okay, and here also, here I don't want to apply any validation. Let me remove this attribute. Okay, so that is about first name. Next thing is last name. Last name and copy the last name property and assign it to the name attribute here. Okay, and here I have to check for the last name. Okay, And here also I can remove the first name rules, remove, no validation rules. So last name, here also last name, and message is like last name should not match first name. Okay, that is my message. Now let's create our custom message. Okay, like constant first last name not equals first name. Okay, so arrow function. So now this method will read the value of the field whatever we registered. Okay, so it will have input parameters. So if we register this validation with our last name will be directly read from here. Okay, so now the rule is if this method returns true, a boolean value, then there is no error. If this method returns false, that means there is error. So here what I have to check means value equal to sorry, not equal to first name, because value means here we are going to anyway register with our last name, right? Value will be the last name entered field. But how we can get the first name? For that we can read a property like get values from our use form. Okay, now from this get values I can read any form value that we registered here. So I will take the name and pass it to the get values. Now it will get the value of the first field. Okay, so that's it. Now we have to register this validation method here. So how we can register means there is a property like validate. To that property I have to register like last name. Okay, like this you have to register. Now here type checking will be validate, not pattern. So whatever the property here we use, that will be the type name. Okay, so I think that's it. I can test it. So custom validation. So here there are two input fields. So if I enter like Naveen and second field also Naveen, submit. See, last name should not match with first name. Or suppose if I enter comedy and now the error message is gone and you can see here it is printing first name and last name. So that is how we can apply the custom validation rules. Okay, so this is all about the integrating the React hook form into some third-party React UI library. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video delivered some useful content to you all. If you like the video, please do like the video and subscribe to my channel for supporting me. Soon we are going to meet with new videos. Until then, signing off.